Hey y'all, it's Arsenio Vega, but you guys probably should know that you guys are at my table. Yeah, I'm gonna be your host for these foreseeable episodes. Where I'm just gonna give you deeper look into society. Look into your homes, companies, everyday lifestyle. Seeing the gender bias that's being influenced, and maybe you don't even notice it's happening. And yeah. I mean, mainly it's gonna be gender bias in nursing, just because um, seeing as men are usually the power holders in most companies, they're the minority in the medical field, well, at least for nursing. But yeah. So for my first guest, he is a male nurse. Um, just gonna give a big old hi to Mr. Swanson, and yeah, see you guys on the flip side.
Oh, you don't like my song?
I love your song.
Sure you do. What's it called?
It's not even out yet. How would I know?
I know. Trust me.
Okay. All right.
Right, go.
Hey y'all. I'm Arsenio Vega, but you know this already. This is Mr. Swanson.
Hi.
He is a man of many talents. I don't know if you caught a little tidbit of that song, but he does create his own music. You want to give us a little tidbit?
No, not right now.
Right.
It's to be determined.
To be determined. Next year, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
It's all in divine timing.
All in divine timing, right? Okay. Well, you are a nurse, correct?
I'm certified in nursing, yes.
Certified nursing. Where did you go to get certified?
Well, I went to 3 different schools actually to pick up different pieces of my nursing qualifications. So I went to Harmony Healthcare, I went to Middlesex Community College, and University of Phoenix.
Do you wish you pursued more in these to become like a nurse practitioner, or is that like a later on in life type of thing for you?
Well, I like to basically get the gist of most skill sets, so that way I can be universal in all aspects of the healthcare field. So the next development would be healthcare administration.
Do you have a timeline for this?
Yes, in the works right now, should be done within 13 months.
13 months, that's great. Where were you getting it done?
University of Phoenix.
But don't you live in Mass?
Yes, University of Phoenix, they have a campus as well, online classes.
Online classes. It's the future right there, huh?
During COVID, I'm pretty sure you got used to it as well.
I was actually really bad at online
Well, that you have to be able to take time management into consideration and utilize your skills in that side for it. So.
Well,
official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female.
So, now that I have successfully, after many failed attempts, shown you the clip of Donald Trump speaking at some rally, I don't know where it was, but stating that there will now only be 2 genders in the country of America. Can I just hear your thoughts on that clip?
Well, considering the fact that I don't watch any of his clips, and you express a need for the viewpoint of Mr. Swanson, I feel like it's his biased way of trying to not incorporate certain individuals that might want to be classified in a certain gender. And I think it's respectable if a person feels a certain way about themselves, you should respect it.
Well, moving on. I know you said you did your certification at the University of. Have you ever worked in a healthcare profession, like a hospital or?
I've worked in several hospitals, several nursing homes, hospice, and residential.
Well, what were your thoughts? Did you, what was your favorite place to work at? You know, like the place you felt most respected and,
Well, I mean,
most
I,
comfortable?
I'm more comfortable with children only because it's an easier way for me to give help that with my guidance in regards to my education. And as far as workspaces, I can pretty much blend in anywhere. I'm an adaptable person, so I can go residential, hospital, hospice.
Well, I mean, you know, you're very, what's when you have a lot of variety, yeah. You know, that, you know, I've seen you working with Brian Brown. You even helped me with a couple of my homework assignments. You're a very, very good person. You know, you can spread yourself anywhere,
Pretty much
pretty much.
adaptable in any environment, I would think to say.
Alright, well, a couple months ago, I read an article by a lady named Zon Vilnius, and she states, because most cultures place a higher value on men and masculinity, gender bias affects women and girls most severely. Now, how would you say your experience as a male nurse in this profession has affected you?
I would say a lot of individuals normally subjectively think when they say nurses coming to attend them, they think of it as a woman role. But in fact, a lot of males feel demasculated in regards to that role because sometimes, again, your client will assume because it has the nurse role, it's mostly women. But if you have a balance between masculine and feminine, you're okay with being, you know, helpful to both.
Well, in your time as working as a nurse, have you ever witnessed or endured any of this like gender bias?
Yes, of course, in every role as far as a job or a place in life, there's always going to be a bias in regards to the role you play, whether you're a man or a female. Sometimes people's perspectives are based off of how they was brought up, right? So if he was brought up in a masculinity household wherein predominantly the man is taking all the, you know, accused actions and most women follow that man, you're going to perceive that as the way of the world until you actually are in the work field and then associated with other individuals where you learn difference. And that's learned behavior, ancestral curses, something like that, basically. So if you are basically open-minded and you can see the fact that each job profile has its normal preference of it both being masculine and feminine, and you have a balance of both, you can fit into any role.
And so are you saying like a household that was, you know, more masculine, well, for a kid, household being more masculine than like growing up, would you say that they are trying to follow that like gender norm that, you know, nurses are supposed to be, you know, like women and not like men?
I believe that a lot of individuals that are born in such roles, they have the thought process, this is how it's supposed to be,
Right.
because it was taught. You're at home, so your first knowledge of learning things is going to be based at home, correct?
Right.
Depending on if you have a household that has no male role, you're going to always look at the woman as being strong and independent versus, you know, your outlook on both roles of being there and each one of them filling each void of that role.
Right.
And sometimes you can grow up with an open mindset and know the difference between masculine and feminine and the roles that they play, and at the end of the day, you make the best determination for yourself as you're growing up and seeing what's real and what's not. Meaning, you learn to evolve and show, and through your experiences in life, will show you basically this is how it's supposed to be versus what you're told to be.
And well, if you said you have have you ever endured it or just like?
I've endured it in several places where I've worked, where basically the role of me being a male nurse would be hindrance to my client being comfortable, only because I would obviously have to be helping them and washing them in, you know, their private areas or themselves in general, or maybe them growing up, they didn't have anybody that they felt comfortable with, or maybe they've always had a certain role as far as gender, be the person that they was going to see, whether it be them going to a physician, a dentist, or this, that, and the third. So sometimes people could have a jaded view on what the male role or a female role in a healthcare position is.
And how would you say like you like dealt with these types of like situations?
Well, just like life, you have to take in the good and the bad, and at the end of the day, you make the best judgment for yourself based on your experience in life and the best way to be.
Well, do you ever like try and take yourself away from like the situation, or like if someone wants a female nurse, do you ever like ask a colleague, hey, like can you just help me out?
Well,
on this?
if
Like,
I'm assigned to that client, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I would tend to that client. If that client said that they prefer and are requesting somebody of a different gender, then I would ask my boss to express it to them. But at the end of the day, I'm there to do a job. I don't see roles as far as male or female. I see a client that needs my help.
moving on. How many clients have you said you've worked with?
I work with a lot. I don't have numbers of it because working in a hospital, you have numerous clients you see a day. Hospice, same thing.
Right.
Residential, you have maybe a set amount of people that's in that household that you tend to care for, and then other places like a high school student, you might be one-on-one based, or you might have a couple. It all depends on the job.
Well, just like ballparking off of like how many years have you been doing
In the
this?
healthcare field, I've worked in several different roles. Pharmaceutical technician. I've worked in fertility clinics, nursing. I've worked in a lot of different roles. So I would say hundreds, if not thousands.
Hundreds, if not thousands. And how would you say you would approach like providing care from like diverse backgrounds and cultures and like economic status?
Well, coming from myself, I've taken care of my mother for 14 years, so I know sometimes it can be hard filling the void of being comfortable with your, physician or somebody that's taking care of you. Sometimes it could be uncomfortable. So I always put myself in their shoes and see how I want to be treated. So the best way to be is give yourself what you want and come back to yourself.
Right.
Or see yourself as, I want to be treated this way, so I'm gonna treat somebody else like that. It's karma.
Right. It's like
Balance.
Right. Balance. Loving that. Loving me some balance. Is that
So is that your next row of questions?
next? Okay. Okay. More glance to the camera. What would you say is the most challenging aspect of your work, and how do you cope or deal with it?
A lot of people have issues in regards to internalizing and taking things personal in regards to whatever job that you have. Sometimes people might come into your, nurse office or situation on your job, whatever title that you might have. They might have outside issues that's going on, and they might bring it to individuals wherever they go. So sometimes people might come in, like just say, you have maybe, for an example, you have problems outside of the home. You came to school not wanting to do work. Sometimes those issues that's outside of the home could come into your schooling environment, and sometimes they have a way of interacting with individuals. Sometimes you project, sometimes you're angry for no reason, and sometimes you lash out. But in my understanding, or should I say, how I am with individuals or patients, I never take it personally. I always look at it as like, you put your pride aside, you tend to that person as you want to be tended to, because at the end of the day, your experience with that individual is going to be a lasting effect, or it's going to be an effect that happens within you, and that you can grow from, or they can grow from.
Well, do you ever have like any like situations where you feel like you need to remove yourself from the situation because like the way this person is acting, you're just not comfortable?
Of course, everybody gets overwhelmed with how sometimes people perceive things to be, or should they be, or how they're being treated. I would say the best measure is to take a 10-second timeout, give that person, a little space as well as yourself. But in the medical field, sometimes you don't have that. It's fast acting and fast movement. So you have to set aside your personal feelings and be there to debunker whatever situation is arising.
It's a good quote. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I had to be living off a quote, there was once this poem I read in 7th grade. It's called "To Laugh Is to Risk," and mostly what that poem is saying is, if you don't take risks in life, then it's going to be good and bad, and at the end of the day, it's based off of how you react to things, and it's going to be the determining factor of your outcome.
for my capstone, I had to read a long nonfiction, and it was called, Delusions of Gender. The author's name was Cordelia Fine. And I saw a quote in here that really made me think, and I analyze it a little bit more, but I want to just get your perspective a little bit. That Mr. Swanson, big old opinion on that quote, but it's cool. She stated, a male nurse may often face challenge in terms of their self-confidence and perception of their abilities. They also may have difficulty gaining the respect of their colleagues, which can be a barrier to advancement. Additionally, a male nurse may feel pressure to conform to traditional gender roles, which can impact their work performance. Now, as a male nurse, have you ever faced challenges related to self-confidence or felt pressure to prove your abilities in a field that's traditionally female-dominated?
In certain places, yes. I would say that the perception of when you think of a nurse, you obviously think of a woman, but there has been a few occasions where in my role, I don't see gender. I see, the individual just wanting and needing help, and some people's perspective is obviously not that because their comfortability.
Right.
So a lot of the times that would happen, I would negate the whole situation in regards to gender role, and I would just do my job because at the end of the day, I'm there for the patient. So I don't give thoughts to, if a person is approving of me or not. I'm there to help. So in those situations where people will feel uncomfortable, I would just go to my manager on duty. I express their concerns. If my manager then tells me, hey, pursue the client, I'm not gonna go to him with or her with every scenario, but I'll make a brash judgment and say, it's okay, and just do my job and just keep it moving. So it could be uncomfortable at sometimes, but at the end of the day, you're there to serve the client, and at the end of the day, you want to make them feel better. So you can massage their ego a little bit, but sometimes that doesn't work.
Sometimes.
No.
Yeah.
Other than that, you just do your job.
A lot easier said than done, huh?
Yes, you have to have a lot of patience, know who you are,
Right.
and basically stand on your principles as far as why you're there.
Like that. Yeah. Is that like a motto of yours or something?
I live my life as to always teach and be the teacher of a student of life. So there's nothing that I can't say I know 100% of, and I can always take information. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm, like I said, a student of life. You can teach me some things, and I'm never looking at race, gender, or any of that to subjectively say, hey, you can't teach me something.
Right.
Because even at my age, I can learn as well.
But you're saying you can teach a lot of people a lot of things?
My knowledge, yes, I'm here to teach you, not here to take your knowledge of life and just keep it for yourself. You're here to express it to others and teach others with it.
So if I was to ask you a question right now, how would you answer that question?
As I've always answered, honestly, but if it's something where you're directing in some way, I'm gonna redirect.
Redirect. You guys know he's almost a professional basketball player.
He's always overindulging in his words.
What's it called? What was that? And one. He was in and one.
Oh boy, this guy.
I would still fry him in basketball.
He's been saying that for the last 3 years of him frying me in basketball, but he's never made it to the gym with me. So I told him about Aaron One in regards to a lot of the styles and tricks that is not utilized today. But you know what? Every generation has its thing.
Right.
Anything else on Sergio?
Maybe I'll import like that image you showed me a couple years ago.
Oof. You gotta keep those in there, bro.
Yeah. Okay, well that's it. We'll call that one a cut.
All right.
I'll try and find some music. But do you have any music? For yeah.
Sure.
As a person who has worked in healthcare for a really long time, if you could give any advice to young men considering a career in nursing, what would you give them?
I would say if you have a passion in helping individuals, to pursue it, no matter what the title would be. Your help in that field will greatly improve individuals' output on the gender roles in regards to healthcare.
And if they asked you what are some challenges that come with it, what should I expect? What would you tell them?
Expect a lot of learning, days lessons, and things change frequently in the healthcare field in regards to policies, as far as medicines. They change every day. You have to be in the books and learn them, generics and brand names. So I would say be dedicated, treat others as you want to be treated, and definitely never stop growing.
Never stop growing. That's a quote, isn't it? All right. Next question.
Sure.
So, as I said before, you've done this for a really long time. So, from when you first started to work in this healthcare profession, from now, how would you say your perspective on gender roles, has it changed at all?
No, I believe that we shouldn't specifically cut that out real quick.
Yeah, you want to cut that one out? Yeah, just keep on going.
So I would just say basically just don't get caught up in the gender roles. Be the individual that you will want to see in those places to help without it being biased as far as gender is concerned, because ultimately the gender roles doesn't even matter. It matters about how you make that individual feel, if you're gonna make that person well and healthy, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter as far as gender roles in regards to helping somebody. You just want to have the patience, the kind heart, and the fortitude to keep pushing forward. Why do you give me those looks? You got this.
Okay. All right. Look along, just a little splash. Spritz. Clear up there, you feel me? Okay. All right. Next question. Do you believe that the healthcare industry is doing enough to promote gender equity among its staff?
Unfortunately, with everybody has bias views on life or things in general. I don't think specifically in the health field it should care about what your gender is only if you're going to help that individual, if only you're going to improve the health and the economy in regards to medicine going forward. Because as everybody knows, you might take a medication for one thing and it might trigger another, unfortunately. But the whole point of learning medicine and everyday learning is to do better in regards to healthcare in general. So if you can primarily learn as much as you can and maybe figure some things out for yourself and employ it in other ways, implement it in other areas of your life, allow it to happen.
It's a good answer.
Is it?
One of the best ones I've heard all episode.
How many episodes have you done?
It's probably take 40
Oh,
seconds.
for us.
Yeah,
Oh,
for us,
All my comments are pretty good.
I mean, yeah, they've all been pretty good, but I mean, that one only really went into depth, you really hit me in the chest with that one, man.
You want to pound it out?
Come on, baby! Let's go, baby!
Dang, bro.
Might need to cut that one out.
Yeah, that was a little abusive. And now I'm gonna get a black eye. I feel it. It's abusive. I don't promote that. Just a handshake.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm too big. I think that kind of hurt.
You want me to rub it for a second?
No.
personal space, boundaries.
Yes.
Oh, damn, it's a little bit red.
Yeah, because you gave me your whole shoulder.
I put that.
You did too much.
I apologize.
No worries.
All right, but last question.
Sure.
What keeps you motivated to continue in this line of work?
Well, the reason why I got into it is because I watched my family suffer with a lot of illnesses. Cancer was the main one, and a lot of the treatments didn't really work. A lot of the treatments kind of hindered them in their process of developing a better output in regards to dealing with it, because sometimes when people are sick, they tend to give up on life or make it feel like, you know, it can trickle down into other areas of their life, not knowing that when you do that, it affects those around you. So my biggest advocate for me, or should I say ambition, is to do better in regards to healthcare, because there are some people that are in the healthcare industry or just in general life as far as work, and they don't have the compassion and sympathy for individuals. They look at it as just a job. And my hopes is, you know, with me and all my experience, I can channel that energy into others and seeing that you can have a compassion for it as well as advancing it.
Yeah.
Because you can easily treat somebody and not have any feelings towards them, but to treat them as family is a difference than treat them as a number.
That's family right there. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think the reason why I'm going into nursing is, well, I mean, I recently lost my great grandmother. And
sorry for your loss.
Thank you. She suffered from Alzheimer's, so you know, for most of my life, I didn't really like know her, but I saw the toll it took on my mom and on my sister and my grandmother, who they all knew her while she was, you know, healthy and lucid, and
it's hard to watch them lose certain things as they get older,
right.
And you're not able to help because you don't have the resources or the facts to help. Because sometimes we feel in bondage when we're not able to put forth that effort, but the most we can do, as if we don't have the skills or experience in those fields, is to be emotional support, which is needed. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people will suffer a lot more knowing that they have no family or no support system versus having a support system that you know that you have, that somebody have your back.
Right, and like even me, I was a very sick child. Maybe around like 2 years old, I had the swine flu. Actually, youngest kid in Massachusetts who has swine flu. Look it up, it's true. I mean, you're probably not gonna find any information about it anywhere, but it's true. And I mean, like I was close to, like, you know, dying, and my mom was like, well, I mean, obviously I got better, but my mom told me like it was really just like the nurses and like the support that they gave to my family, like how they treated me and how they helped every, you know, part of my family. And this was a time where swine flu was still like
unknown, and probably there wasn't any other resources that allowed you to get help faster, or and to get better faster, should I say.
And like not every, like, I mean, I was only 2 years old. I wasn't like, you know, really conscious, but I still
it impacts you to this day.
Right, you know, like my family, like they couldn't even see me when I was sick, so it affected them like a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like that's really why I wanted to become a nurse. And then I started like looking into like these like stereotypes and the bias that, you know, men that like have to like endure in this type of field. So yeah, I mean, that's really why I researched this. And
that's a good reason.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, sometimes the lack of knowledge that you have for treatments or just health concerns in general, I would employ everybody to get checked regularly, because it might not be the best medicines that's out there right now, but we are advancing as a culture, as a humanity, in regards to developing different systems of medication to, you know, help faster. And it's a growing time these days for new events, for transition.
Right.
So I would say, you know, the more you learn about things that's out there, the better you are. Health is your wealth, you know, because without your health, how are you going to be able to support anybody?
Right.
You know, you can have a lot of things that's going on in your life, but if you're not doing better, how can you help another individual or your family at that if you're sick? You know, and sometimes it's out of our hands. We got to put it in God's hands.
That's right. Well, that's just about all the time we have today. I want to thank Mr. Swanson, very knowledgeable man, has agreed to come and help me with this capstone of my whole high school career. And yeah, I mean, when you know when it is, when the exhibition is?
I do not.
Well, I mean, this might be the last time anybody ever sees me.
Well, that's not true.
That's not true. I mean, yeah.
That's not true. I would employ that you would see this young man a lot more as he developed his skills and just buckles down in his learning.
Okay, all right.
That's a cut.
See you guys.
Later. Good?
Yeah, that was great.
Hey, you guys. That's the end of my podcast. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I want to thank everyone who helped me, and big shout out to Mr. Swanson. He really helped me throughout this whole entire process, and I really enjoyed hearing all of his views and opinions. So, thank you, Mr. Swanson. I really hope I didn't give you a black eye, because kind of threw my shoulder into you. But yeah, as I was saying, this podcast helped me in many ways. Trying to understand the concept of the field that I'm going into, the struggles and setbacks that nurses endure and can inflict on people. The purpose of this podcast is try and shed light on stereotypes that are inflicted on nurse, like how it's a woman's profession, or that nurses are just nurses who weren't smart enough to become doctors. I think if I had to say who I'm writing this to, I think I'm writing this to like the freshmen or the 8th graders becoming into freshmen next year, who haven't really gotten a taste of what life is like outside of, you know, Belmont public school education system. And I think it's a chance for them to broaden their horizons and try to become more aware of the stereotypes that, you know, went ahead of them and their generation, even though I'm only like 4 years older than them. So yeah, check you guys later. Probably be some bloopers at the end, because me and Mr. Swanson had some funny moments recording this interview. But see ya.